It's beautiful here. It's breathtaking. Breathtaking is what it is. And speaking of the breath, speaking of breathtaking, I gotta have a seat here because I've been hiking some pretty steep roads in this jungle, and I'm almost at the other end. It's basically a hike from one beach to another. So let's have a seat here. Let's get a little parasympathetic before going back to the sympathetic. Somebody asked me in the comments, can you talk about the different types of breath work? I can't really cover every specific one. There's so many different methodologies, branches, philosophies, etc. I'm going to give you the basics. You basically have only ever at any given point, you have two types of breath work. Much like, because everything is a duality, so if we're living in the yin and yang duality, then everything manifests in pairs. So breath work manifests in pairs as well. So you have the sympathetic nervous system breath work, and you have parasympathetic nervous system breath work. The sympathetic nervous system breath work, which is the fight or flight, it's basically the way I have been breathing, because the whole hike, pretty much I'm like halfway through. Pretty much the first half is up, and now it's down, 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 down. So as soon as I got to the highest point and I started to go down, I'm like, okay, the masculine part is over, because I even felt like I don't have to struggle anymore. It's like I'm just like whew, cruising down. I was like, all right, so sympathetic nervous system, fight or flight, that's the masculine expression in breathing, in breath work, and you use it obviously for activities that require more oxygenation to your muscles, so your muscles can do the work that they're required to do. It's basically stressful situations. Like, this is a type of stressor. You're going up, so you've gotta oxygenate the muscles so that they can exert force, so that they can do the work you're asking them to do. So that's the first type of breath work, and we'll talk more about that. The second type of breath work is parasympathetic nervous system. That's the feminine expression of the duality in breathing. That's relaxation. That's slow heart rate. That's, the less breaths per minute you take in, the more of the parasympathetic nervous system you activate. The parasympathetic nervous system is the subconscious. The sympathetic nervous system is the conscious. The parasympathetic nervous system is the one regulating your heart rate. It's regulating digestion, detoxification. It's anything associated with relaxation and letting go. And you probably hear a lot about breath work, especially if you're into breatharianism, right? It's, in that community specifically, breath work is highly, highly emphasized. Hence the name breatharian, right? It's highly, highly emphasized. So how do you leverage using both types of breath work for optimal performance, for more of a pranic lifestyle, etc.? So you want to leverage both so that you can keep your balance as this androgynous, neither masculine nor feminine, yet masculine and feminine. You have both qualities in you because you're experiencing creation. You want to keep them balanced. You want to engage both. You want to engage both types of breath work. Here's the catch. For, I would say, anywhere between 22 to 23 hours, and maybe even more. I would say anywhere between 22 hours, or 21, if you're really well trained, let's say. Anywhere between 21 hours to 23 and a half hours, you want to be taking the least amount of breaths per minute. So you want to be parasympathetic. You want to be breathing very slow, for, again, 21 to 23 and a half hours a day. Okay? And then between half an hour, it's just my own bullshit, right? Anyway, between half an hour to about 3 hours, depending on your level of activity, how well you're trained, what do you get involved in, etc. You want to be involved in something that requires your heart rate to go up. They complement each other very well. And here's the proof. If you go for a jog, not really intense, just a jog, just to get the heart rate up, or you go on a steep incline hike like I just did, about an hour, and you will find that after, when you sit down and relax, because you're gonna want to sit down and relax, right? The body wants to catch up. The breath, the breathing, the body wants, it's been put under stress. It wants to now get back into homeostasis. You will find that your heart rate is lower. You will find that you're taking naturally less breaths per minute. Combine it with consciously slowing down your breath, and you've got a winning formula. So a lot of you guys know about the Wim Hof method. And one of the things that maybe confuse you a little bit when you get into the slow type of breath work is you say, well, what about the Wim Hof method, right? Some of you guys actually asked me this, and I asked myself this question. I'm like, okay, I read into some yogis and stuff like that. They can stop their heart. Animals who take less breaths per minute, like turtles, tend to live longer. When you breathe less, it's associated with longevity, etc. So I'm like, okay, well, where does the Wim Hof method come in? Well, interesting. So when you do the Wim Hof method, you're also getting your heart rate to go up, right? You're getting your heart rate to go up, but this is the crucial part of the method, and Wim Hof talks about this, the retention part. Because what you're trying to do is you're actually trying to retain, when you're trying to retain, you want to go a minute, 2, 3 minutes, Wim Hof says if you practice it regularly, you can go up to 3 minutes, 4 minutes. Wim Hof himself, I think, went up to 8 minutes of just one breath. Now that's one breath, not one breath per minute. That's one breath per 3 minutes or 4 minutes. So the retention part is actually the crucial part. So you want to leverage quick-paced breathing, whether it's via doing the Wim Hof method, or whether it's via hiking or jogging. And I don't recommend going intense on anything. It can really produce a lot of acidity in your body, and that acidity causes tension, it causes fatigue, tiredness. So I would go anywhere between like 60 to 75% intensity. Going 100% is gonna tax your body. So you do that, any type. You could just do the Wim Hof method. If you do the Wim Hof method every day for half an hour, you're getting the same benefits practically, So after, you do the retention. And then the retention, so you want to basically use anything, the masculine part of the breath work, to further help you with the parasympathetic breath work, which is the one you're basically spending most. You want to be breathing very slow, deeply and slowly throughout the day. So you leverage anything that requires quick-paced breathing. You do something that you like. I like to do hiking, and get that heart rate up. And then consciously, like what I'll do by the end of the hike is I'll sit down for some time and I'll consciously slow down my breath. Because, the body has to catch up. I put it under stress. It wants to catch up. It wants a break. So I'll do that. I'll recharge like a battery. Like you put a cell phone. I make videos, for example. Videos require a lot of energy, so they drain the battery, so I have to charge the phone. Same thing. Anything that's intense, that has to get your heart rate to go up, to pull more oxygen to your muscles, it's getting you out of the state of homeostasis, the state of balance. So it's just like shooting a video on your phone. It's going to drain the battery. So what you do is you sit down after, you lay down, whatever, and then you consciously slow down your breathing, combined with the natural effects of heart rate going up, because the body says, okay, if we're doing this a lot, I have to be more efficient. So next time you're not as tired, right? Next time you're not as tired, you're more adapted, more used to it. And eventually in the long run, your heart rate naturally goes down. But if you're not complementing the, let's say, athletic type breath work, the one that requires, intense activity, if you're not doing some type of slow breathing, you're not going to catch up on the breath. And although your heart rate naturally slows down after, but still, athletes do not have a longer life expectancy than the rest of us, despite them being in really good shape, even the ones that take care of themselves after, because you're requiring a lot of your body, you're shooting a lot of videos, think of your phone, you're shooting a lot of videos and not enough charging. So this is how you want to combine both methods. Again, 2 basic methods, and there's many branches. There's a branch called the Buteyko breathwork. The Buteyko breathwork is you do it consciously. You breathe through your nose and out through your nose exclusively, and then you breathe in. You inhale. You hold it there for, I think, 8 seconds, 10 seconds, 15 seconds. You exhale, then you hold it for whatever, 8 seconds, 10 seconds, 15 seconds, or something. So you're trying to take the least amount of rest per minute. If you study pranayama in the yogic traditions, they have many different variations, but essentially it's all parasympathetic. Like in yoga, for example, you breathe out of your some for certain purposes, which I'm not aware of. You breathe out of your right nostril, and then you breathe out of your left nostril. But it's all forms of slowing down the breath. It's all parasympathetic nervous system breathing. There's also Tumo breath work. The Wim Hof method, the part where you breathe rapidly, is in yoga called Bastrika. So again, different variations out there, lots of them. But again, the basics of it is parasympathetic and sympathetic. You could also do breathing through your nose and out through your mouth. So that's another variation, right? It really depends. It really depends, on the philosophy and everything. But just keep that in mind. 2 at any given point. And I highly recommend that you complement both of them. You want to keep the masculine and the feminine balanced within you. It'll keep the energies balanced that way. You exert yourself, the masculine part of you, and then you relax. And then so that's the nice, intricate balance in creation between the masculine and the feminine. A really beautiful dance. So that's pretty much it. If you want to look more into this stuff, look up the Wim Hof method and look up Buteyko method. Okay, look up the Buteyko method. It's pretty elaborate in the sense that they describe this in more detail, the slowing of the breath, the parasympathetic nervous system breathing, and that's the one you want to focus most of your attention on. Actually, the other one's easy. Just go for a hike, go for a jog, go play your favorite sport, go for a swim. That's the easy part. And I really like swimming. I live in an island. I really dig swimming. It's either hiking or swimming, because swimming is so low impact. You're taking in lots of breathing, and you have to hold your breath in the water also. So that's nice. It actually really complements the slow breathing, the parasympathetic, very well, and you're not putting any impact on your joints or knees or anything like that, right? So it's pretty cool. You want to again focus most of your attention on the slow breathing. You want to do definitely more of that consciously throughout the day. And then the other one, just again, go for a hike with some steepness to it. It doesn't have to be too steep. Some steepness to it. Go for a swim. Go for a little jog. And I would say don't put your body under too much stress. Acidity. It causes a lot of acidity in the blood. And that causes tension, fatigue, tiredness, pain, etc. Right? You want to put your body under more work than it's, used for. Do it repeatedly, and it will adapt to it, and it will be more efficient at pulling oxygen. Combine that with conscious, slow breathing, and you've got the right formula. And you'll pull a lot of prana out of the system. You'll pull a lot of prana out of the air, a lot of prana out of the environment. Okay? And thank you to all the Patreons for your consistent support. I love you guys. And if you've got a couple of bucks a month to spare and you would like to contribute to the community, you could do so down below. Again, look at this beauty here. Look at this beauty. Oh, I'm basically going to this beach that you can only go to by either a boat or by this hike. No motorbikes, nothing, and I'll probably get a place there. Just total isolation, basically, right? Total isolation, you know, no motorbikes, nothing like that, because there's only two ways you can get there. This hike, which is barely anybody, and I haven't seen anybody yet. And I've been on the road for now, what, an hour and a half with making this video. And yeah, the other way to get there is by boat, and I went to get the boat and there was nobody even. They wanted to charge me more because there was no other people going. So it should be interesting getting a place there and having this jungle as my backyard. It'll be very interesting. So yeah, I'm very excited. I'll see you guys in the next video.